Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll have tips on improving your herd's health from Merial. Plus, we share some of our favorite stories from the past year. NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman starts right now.
And now, a special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's special edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. This week, we share some of our favorite stories from the past year. Plus, we hear from the experts at Merial on ways to improve your herd's health. Let's get started. Cattlemen and women know the importance of building a solid relationship with their veterinarian. These partnerships can help prevent costly problems and result in a healthier bottom line. For more on the important benefits of working with a veterinarian, Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has the story.
In the northeast corner of Oklahoma, Jerry Wright has been managing the land and cattle on the Smoke Rise Ranch for 25 years.
This ranch here is approximately 10,000 acres. We run anywhere from 12 to 1,300 cows, Kevin pairs, commercial cows. We use Angus bulls on them, predominantly Angus bulls. I think probably 90% of the herd is, spring Kevers.
Over the years, Wright has learned to trust in his veterinarian, Dr. Rick Reed, who plays an integral role in helping to develop a comprehensive herd health plan, one that keeps his animals healthy and protects the investment.
We have a single veterinarian mixed practice, so we do a little bit of everything here. Primarily cow-calf and stalker operators that are in this area, and we have a lot of them.
When I came here, in 1989, Doc, he was my tutor, so to speak. There's no telling how many heifer calves I hauled into him. His trust in me, as far as describing what's wrong, in mine and him, and describing, what I need to do is unmeasurable. As far as questions on antibiotics, wormers, all the vaccines, he's who you need to talk to.
Like producers in every state, cattlemen in Oklahoma face a variety of concerns from weather to animal health. However, when it comes to profit robbers, at or near the top of the list are parasites.
The people here, from day one, we've tried to teach them and tell them as we go along about how parasite problems are a huge problem in this area. An overabundance of parasites can cause many problems, from anywhere from poor weight gains to actually weight loss, and then in a calf operation, definitely unthrifty body conditions, which leads to poor milk production, which leads to poor weight gains or weaning weights, and then the poor or delayed breed back. So parasites are a huge problem in this area.
In fact, research shows that of all the animal health practices used for increasing production, treating cows for parasites gives the greatest economic return. That return is up to $201 per head as a result of improved reproduction, leading to earlier calving and earlier weight gain in those calves. That's why Dr. Reed has been recommending Merial's Long Range to his clients, and the reaction has been positive.
They're saying that the cattle have done better than they've ever done. The people that use Long Range were very, very happy, and they commented that they'd never seen their cattle do as good as they've done that grazing season. So it was a good deal. It's an excellent concept. Long Range with the extended release, anytime you can have a product that will break the life cycle of those parasites, you actually have an opportunity to clean up your pasture, so to speak, because all those infective larvae that the cattle ingest are killed, and they never have the opportunity to turn into egg-laying adults. So that's the great thing about Long Range.
Dr. Reed notes that long range is also a good choice for stocker operators who may receive stressed, high-risk calves that often struggle to gain weight due to high parasite loads. And he notes that not only does long range provide parasite control for up to 100 to 150 days, its extended release formula reduces time and labor in handling cattle.
In the past, to get the same longevity that long range has, you would have had to run cattle through the chute at least 3 or 4 times, and that's just too labor intensive. There's too much opportunity for animals getting hurt, and it's just too hard to run cattle through the chute that many times. So this is going to make everything different. It's going to be a game changer to me.
Jerry Wright incorporated long range into his herd health program last year. Since he started using the product, he's seen improvements both in his animals and his bottom line.
We've also had an increase, in weight gains on our calves. Part of that could be attributed to the summer, but I like hedging my bets.
Long range definitely has changed the way of thinking. This product, with being able to last long enough to break the life cycle, is just a whole new thinking and never really available to us till this point. So it's going to be a huge help in the cattle industry.
Well, the bottom line is that, we've got more gain on our calves this year.
And for a cattleman, finding a reliable way to put more money in the pocket on sale day is always a good thing. Reporting from Nowata, Oklahoma, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Here is some important safety information. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows, or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. You can find out more at the website thelongrangelook.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
Both here, 210.11. I'm at 210.11. Yes! Joe. Todd, how'd you do? Oh, not bad.
See what you have to gain at thelongrangelook.com.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of the land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
The Case IH Summer Sales Event is going on now, meaning you can turn the heat into red-hot savings. That's because all Farmall and Maxim Series tractors, along with our complete line of hay tools, are available with 0% financing for 60 months. But hurry, because while the Summer Sales Event is just warming up, it only lasts until September 30th, 2014. For more information, visit your local Case IH dealer or go to caseih.com/special offers.
Join America's cattle industry for the 2014 Summer Conference in Denver, Colorado. It's a great opportunity to meet your fellow cattlemen and women, plus spend time planning for the future of your operation in our great industry. Bring the whole family and join us in Denver for the 2014 Cattle Industry Summer Conference, July 30th through August 2nd. For details, call 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Shipping fever, bronchial pneumonia, bovine respiratory disease. Whatever term you're most familiar with, the problem is still the same. BRD can spread fast, and it can cost beef producers as much as $900 million per year. We learn more about ways to win the battle against BRD as Brian Baxter reports from Western Iowa.
It's a snowy, freezing morning in western Iowa, and Ron Vogel is checking on his feeder calves. Like producers across most of the country, this has been a tough winter for Ron, but he has long experience in caring for his animals and ensuring they stay healthy.
Basically, I've been feeding cattle all my life. I was born and raised on this farm, lived here most of the time. If you're feeding cattle, you're feeding to make a profit, and to make a profit, you've got to get that critter gaining. Got to be eating all the time. You can't be standing around the yard doing nothing or breathing heavy or coughing and that, you know, just standing there. They got to be eating. That's the name of the game. You aren't going to keep them healthy if they don't eat.
Ron sources his animals from Montana and trucks them more than 1,000 miles to Iowa. That trip can be stressful, so to keep the calves healthy, he works closely with his veterinarian, Tom Ulrichsen, to precondition and vaccinate his calves.
To me, you just feel more relaxed feeding cattle if you got a competent veterinarian that you can contact and converse with, you know, and it's just, I just had a good relationship with Tom and the rest of the crew in there. It's just so much easier after you've rode 1,000 miles with cattle all night long. It's nice to sit down and relax, you know.
He's been a great producer. He goes out there, sees the cattle, brings them back, and we always run them through our clinic here through our chute, and he gets them vaccinated. A couple years ago, he brought a group in, and we had that weather change, and he had some sick cattle out there, and so I used Zactran on those cattle, and they responded real well, and so he's been a big Zactran fan ever since. He usually doesn't have much trouble with cattle, but he's always got a bottle of Zactran on hand, and in case he gets one or two that's feeling a little punk some morning, and so it's worked great for him.
This kind of year with record snow and cold and the rapid swing in temperatures can be especially hard on long-haul calves that may already be at higher risk for bovine respiratory disease or BRD.
Obviously, once they get them in and get them weaned, the weather changes, gets a little rough, you're going to see some BRD, and we've had a lot of that this year because of the change in the temperatures. We've had a fairly dry winter, but the temperatures have been 40 one day, and 3 days later it might be -7 below zero, and it's been a lot of challenge for those calves out there. So again, with the prevention, with the precondition program, the shots in them, and then if we do run into a problem, we go in and vaccinate.
Because BRD can cost a producer so much money, either in death loss or lost weight gain, it pays to stay ahead of the disease. A key step in beating BRD is to keep a close eye on how the calves look and behave every day.
I look at the eyes. If they're bright out of the eyes, you know, you can just about tell. Bloodshot eyes, you know, and when they really get bad, then you got the old ear drop down. And if they're laying around, my policy is, if they don't come up and eat, I watch them real close, and I think they might be just off or aren't feeling good, then I let it go to the next feeding, and then I'll treat them.
Early detection is the key. The sooner you get them, the better results you're going to have. And we do see guys that have missed them or they've treated, and then they're not responding, so they call us in. We've had real good luck with Zactran. Most of the pneumonias that we're seeing are bacterial, and there might be a combination, but with the vaccines we have, we're seeing more of a bacterial pneumonia or a mycoplasma pneumonia. And so we've got to have a drug that will treat those, and for me, we're seeing an increase of mycoplasma, and that's a nice thing about Zactran, it'll treat both, and it's labeled for both. So when I come in with an animal, I'm just treating, I have nothing to go on, and yet I know from past history that I'm probably, if I send a sample of those lungs in, I'm going to find mycoplasma in addition to a Pasteurella or Mannheimia hemolytica. I can come with Zactran.
In fact, when BRD shows up in an animal, Dr. Ulrichsen has become a believer in using the one-shot power of Zactran to deliver a cost-effective, rapid response.
The nice thing about Zactran, a couple things. First of all, there's a real kick up front. It really hammers that bug hard. So you'll see results within the first 24 hours.
They'll go back to eating sooner than they ever did before. Usually I'll give an animal a shot, say in the morning here, and they'll be up to the bunk eating right away.
The other nice thing about Zactran, it's 10 days treatment. So you give one shot, you don't have to touch the animal, run him in the chute again, stress him out again, giving 2 and 3 sets of shots. So one shot, 10 days, gives a real good kick up front, very strong antibiotic, and most of the time I give it one shot of Zactran and we don't have to worry about him again.
That's what Tom suggested here several years ago when it come out. I said, what do you got that works better than what we have been? And that's it, Zactran.
Both Ron Vogel and Dr. Ulrichsen have decades of experience in working with and caring for cattle, so they know that preconditioning, keeping a close eye on calves, ensuring they have all the water and feed they need, and minimizing stress are all keys to preventing BRD. But they also know that a product like Zactran, once proven, delivers real value.
When Zactran came out a couple years ago, I was a little bit hesitant, and I kind of let other people try them. But my first big experience with Zactran was a client that called me. He had 120 head of cattle that he brought in a couple weeks before. They had gotten sick. He'd used several different products on them. He had 6 deads on a Saturday morning when he called me. I went out there, posted them, looked like Pastorella. I said, there's only one left that I'm going to use, and that's going to be Zactran. The cattle the next morning were up eating, and they took off after that. So I've been a big cheerleader for Zactran ever since.
In western Iowa, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Here's some important safety information. For use in cattle only, do not treat cattle within 35 days of slaughter. Because a discard time in milk has not been established, do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, or in calves to be processed for veal. The effects of Zactran on bovine reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined.
Fighting and winning the battle against BRD is essential to protecting the bottom line for your beef operation. To learn more about exactly why you should consider Zactran and do a cost comparison, visit the website Zactran.com. We'll have more right after this.
There's something wrong. His head is down. He's clearly stressed. He's worried sick about BRD. That's why there's prescription Zactran for BRD treatment and control in high-risk cattle. Get a rapid response plus 10-day treatment and control in a single dose, so you can stop worrying and get back to business. For use in cattle only, do not treat cattle within 35 days of slaughter. Because a discard time in milk has not been established, do not use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, or in calves to be processed for veal. The effects of Zactran on bovine reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined. Don't worry yourself sick. Talk to your veterinarian about a real alternative for BRD treatment and control. Because it's critical, it's Zactran from Merial, a leading animal health company.
To truck guys, the truck is everything. And when you put them in charge of making an unbeatable truck, good things happen. This is the Ram 1500, the 2014 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And first ever back-to-back winner. Guts, glory, Ram.
Join your fellow cattlemen in sizzling hot San Antonio for the 2015 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's the beef industry's biggest convention, and it's great for education, networking, and fun. Plus, you can check out the NCBA Trade Show for the latest technology. It's the 2015 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in sizzling hot San Antonio, Texas, February 4 through 7. Visit beefusa.org for more.
Cattlemen and women know the importance of building a solid animal health protocol. Parasite control is one of the best ways producers can keep cattle healthy and productive. For more on the benefits of parasite control, Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has the story.
In northeast Missouri, Charles Swiger has been working the land and raising cattle at Swiger Farms for over 30 years.
You know, I guess you'd say that we was in the Hereford business for, my grandfather started the Hereford business back in, I think in 29, and we've had horned Hereford and then went to polled Hereford in the early 90s and bought our first Angus cows in 94, and that's kind of where we started from.
To find new ways to improve the herd health on his operation, Swiger has worked with his veterinarian, Dr. Hunt Tainer. The two have searched for animal health products that will ultimately increase the operation's return on investment.
So Charles and I have been working together for, gosh, probably 12 to 14 years. They run a registered Angus Hereford as well as a commercial herd. Ultimately, you know, we got started AIing cows here, preg checking for them, and we've just tried to get a little bit more aggressive with management each year as we've gone.
As it is in many areas of the country, pasture availability in Missouri can be a challenge for cattle producers. To make the most of the acres that are available for grazing, parasite control is critical.
So I think in Missouri, especially today with, you know, ground being hard to come by, people oftentimes overgraze or overstock their pastures. I think parasites are costing most cow-calf producers in the spring a tremendous amount of money, more than we realize. You know, that's been a hard thing to get people to change. They've typically, if they're going out to grass right now in early to mid-April, they want to deworm them and be finished. Up until this point, there have been no products available that had any sustained release or long-acting effect. So we still had an open window where parasites could be costing us money in the long term.
In search of season-long parasite control, Dr. Tainer and Charles used long range on a cow herd during last year's grazing season. The results they saw after using long range were substantial.
So it was early June when we gave the cows long range, recorded the weights on the calves when they came through the chute. They're already sorted in their respective pastures. Gave long-range cows and calves, and 114 days later, when we weaned, we reweighed. They were all in the same group and tallied up the difference in average daily gains in them, and were pleasantly surprised with the results. It really wasn't until at night that we ran the data and saw that we had a difference in average daily gain in the long-range cattle. So that's really where the meat of it is. I mean, there was a tremendous amount of money on the table there.
Of course, this year, you know, we used long range, and was really sold on it so far, you know, and felt like it was, you know, money well spent, so to speak. We're going to do it on everything this time for sure. I figured that, you know, that the advantage of it is the extra pounds on the calves, and at $2 a pound, it just adds up. To me, it's worth it, you know, because I know it's going to pay.
Since long range is labeled for parasite control for up to 100 to 150 days, the cattle are protected for the entire grazing season. Dr. Tainer notes that the extended duration of long range means producers only have to treat once in the spring for parasites, a labor savings that all producers can appreciate.
To me, the hard part in the past has always been getting clients to bring the cattle up in June, deworm. Much more convenient now that we've got a product like long range. We can go back to deworming at turnout in April and May and get season-long control, whereas before, you know, either cattle were getting done right at turnout or they're having to bring them back up later, and they weren't getting the full effect of parasite control.
Well, it's a lot less handling of the cattle. I mean, it's just less trips through the chute. It all takes time and labor and dollars. We've had times when winter we've had to bring cattle in and retreat, you know, before grass time, and we haven't seen anything like that this time.
After seeing success with the product themselves, both Swiger and Dr. Tainer encourage other beef producers to try long range on their own operation.
Try it. You know, just try it. Personally, I think they'll see the difference whether they weigh the calves or whether they don't weigh the calves. You know, I think they'll see the difference in the cow and the performance, you know, of the cows.
I think every producer owes it to themselves to have a control group and a treatment group, a group that they use long range on, because there's so many environmental differences from year to year. Just taking one year's weaning weight versus the previous year's is hard to really compare. So I do think everybody owes it to themselves. They owe it to themselves to at least do a group. Parasites are robbing pounds of growth off these calves, and at today's market at $2 a pound plus, it's costing a tremendous amount of money. So what an opportune time to take advantage of the money left on the table with the long-acting product.
to me, it's pretty simple because, you know, if you're going to have pounds at $2 a pound, it don't cost that much to treat, you know. Besides, I think the cattle are in better shape and better condition.
With season-long parasite control with long range throughout the herd, calves grow faster and profitability increases, something all producers are looking for. Reporting from Northeast Missouri, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Here is some important safety information. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. Find out more at the website, thelongrangelook.com.
Many cattlemen discover their passion for the beef industry early in life. Successful cattlemen quickly learn that passion alone isn't enough. It needs to be combined with good information, innovative business models, and a continuous focus on the end product. Wolf Cattle in Morris, Minnesota has transformed their passion for cattle into a beef production system that extends from breeding to feeding. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Sharon Alseth has more.
I was kind of born with a love for cattle. I was drawn to the beef cattle side of the operation. I was happiest when I was out either in a feed yard or in a pasture with cows, taking care of cattle.
Jerry Wolf has been part of the cattle industry his entire life. His father, the late Leonard Wolf, purchased a couple of cows and got started in the beef business back in 1949. Today, Wolf Cattle has grown into an integrated seed stock, stocker, and cattle feeding operation spanning 3 states.
300 miles west of here in McLaughlin, South Dakota, we have a 25,000-acre stocker ranch. We put about 5,000 yearlings out each summer on grass. We also have a 11,000 head background yard there called Wolf Cattle Depot. And then in Bassett and Atkinson, Nebraska, we have 17,000 head of feed yard space and cropland down there.
Jerry continually challenges the Wolf team to look for new opportunities to deliver value to customers and grow their operation. While they spend a lot of time collecting information and utilizing technology to improve their Limousine, Limflex, and Angus genetics, they say they are first and foremost cattle feeders.
Our father said that for many years. We were cattle feeders for about 2 decades before we were cattle breeders. So it's our cattle feeding experience that led us then into the genetics and crossing Angus cattle with Limousine. We were impressed with the feed efficiency we picked up and the red meat yield. So as you in the business to convert grass or grain to beef, we wanted to be involved in the genetic component that helped make that whole system more efficient and then a more consistent high quality product on the other end.
If you do breeding without feeding, you don't necessarily get the true results of what you're breeding for. If you feed the cattle out and see what how the cattle perform, you can then therefore take that data and compare it to what you're actually breeding. So if you have cattle that look good on the genetic side but they don't perform in the feedlot, we're not enhancing the beef industry, and that is our ultimate goal, is to help get beef produced economically.
We know every portion of the chain in depth. We know the genetics, and we know how our cattle start. We know the ranchers that our bulls go out to and the kind of cows they have and their management practices. We know how the calves are fed, how they're raised. We have relationships with the packer, and we work with them to get our cattle marketed to the market that best fits them.
Jerry says collecting and analyzing all of this information and being involved in each segment of cattle production is what makes Wolf Cattle unique and ensures their customers are getting the information and service they need to make the best possible management and marketing decisions.
We're not just in the genetics component, but we're in the cattle feeding part of it and also in the stocker operation. So we buy 500-pound calves and sell 12 to 1,400 pound fed cattle. So just being a beef company that goes from genetics all the way to value-added fed cattle makes us unique. You know, there's a lot of genetic companies And there's a lot of cattle feeding companies, stocker operations, but very few that tie the whole thing together. Our ranchers that buy bulls from us, they're buying into a program, you know, so they're interested in their end product. We're very big on sharing information. We get carcass data back on all the cattle we feed. We take the closeouts on the cattle that come through the feed yard. We funnel that information back to the ranch. So our clients are interested in being part of an entire beef production system and also buy into the value-added model.
The Wolf family is always looking for more ways to enhance their customer service. Their bull retirement program is just one example of the value-added opportunities they offer customers.
Customer service is the cup of coffee when they walk in the door, but it's a whole lot more. It's looking for ways for them to add value to what they have to sell. And one of the things they have to sell are their cull bulls. And we're pretty fortunate here in Minnesota to live pretty close to a bull processing facility and have a good relationship with American Foods, and we work together with them and they purchase the bulls, and we're able to provide the rancher a premium to cash in his bull to buy a new one on the sale next spring.
Wolf Cattle has also found their way into the dairy business with some very forward thinking.
In our own commercial dairy, we run half Jersey cows, half Holstein cows. That milk all goes for cheese production. Those Jersey cows we are now crossing with Limousine. We're breeding half the herd to sex semen to get our replacement females, and then taking the other half and crossing with Limousine, and finding that in terms of feed efficiency and a good quality, high quality carcass, we can produce a very nice beef animal out of Jersey cows. So we're now taking that concept to the dairy industry and are selling semen across the United States and Canada.
The hours are long and the work is hard, but just like the hundreds of thousands of beef producers across the country, the Wolf family wouldn't choose any other way of life.
One thing that we learn here from the time we're really little is if you want something, you have to work for it. And hard work is very rewarding. We've been so blessed here, and it's our job to take care of it. And if we take care of it, it will take care of us.
I've always enjoyed working with cattle, and I just feel it's a noble cause to be raising that high quality product like beef. I know there's a lot of happy, satisfied consumers out there enjoying their hamburger and enjoying their steak because we're out here producing it for them.
Reporting from Minnesota, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
To join Jerry, Mike, Rhonda, and the rest of the Wolf team as members of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or email us at c2c@beef.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This isn't a job, it's a calling. Your hard work helps feed the world. Being linked to those who care for the land is our calling. For more than 175 years, John Deere has been a proud partner of the cattle business. That's why we bring you special NCBA member discounts, so you can get the right equipment, strong, rugged, versatile, and ready to work hard. Talk to your John Deere dealer to learn more about your NCBA member discounts. John Deere, committed to the land, committed to your success.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right, whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots. When you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real, and feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. the garden and watching it grow.
Its arrival is as routine as the truck that brings the next load of calves. You stand ready, waiting, watching for symptoms. A revolutionary new weapon in hand. Unique chemistry and hard-hitting active ingredient. Longer duration in the respiratory tract. Rapid absorption. Join the Zaprevolution. Zaprevo, Tilda Pearson. See your veterinarian.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back. Some families have deep roots in the industry, while others are relatively new to raising cattle. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more on one Montana family that may be new to the business, but is already making a positive impact.
Harrison Land and Livestock is a registered Angus seed stock operation located in the heart of Montana. Mark and Patty Harrison haven't been raising cattle for very long. They just moved to the state and began ranching in 2003.
We used to come to Montana a lot, and one day we just said, you know, we've thought about doing this for a long time, and if we don't do it now, we'll probably look back 20 years later and think, you know, what if we would have? And so we just kind of jumped in feet first.
Mark had a desk job before he came out here, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I pretty much was a stay-at-home mom until, you know, coming out here. We knew that if we wanted to be in Montana, we'd have to have a livelihood, and so we chose ranching.
Well, when they first told us, we didn't really think they were serious. It took a day or two for it to finally sink in, and when it did, you know, we were all pretty game for it.
The transition to the cattle industry has been helped by Mark and Patty's 4 children. Their 2 oldest sons, Matt and Joe, live and work full-time on the ranch.
It's a little harder on us not having grown up in it, you know. Other kids that grew up here know more of what's going on from a younger age, so they have the experience that we're still trying to gain. But, you know, every day is a learning experience, and we learn more and more every passing day and do the best we can with what we know.
It's awesome to have them working with Patty and I. It's just almost it's hard to describe how nice it is to have them here and to be part of what we do every day, and for them to learn right along with us so that, you know, they'll be able to teach their kids and keep the ranch going into the future.
I think watching the kids on the ranch is probably the biggest reward. It's very rewarding to see them working together, and I hope it continues that way. That's our dream anyways.
Mark and Patty pretty much had to start their operation from scratch, but the quality of their cattle has grown over the years. The Harrisons held their first production sale in 2010. Now it's an annual tradition on the 3rd Thursday of March and attracts buyers from all over the region.
Sale day runs really very smoothly. It's a lot of work beforehand, getting the catalog together, getting all that information down. But the day of the sale, it goes pretty smoothly. Everybody has a job, everybody knows what they're doing, and it just gets done. And it's always a lot of fun.
The bull sale is our big revenue driver, yes. We also run a commercial herd that's a little bit smaller than our registered herd, and we do that so that we can show our customers what kind of calves they could expect by buying bulls from us.
Although the Harrisons haven't been ranching as long as some other families, they quickly figured out the steps necessary to ensure a profitable operation.
Animal care is really a very key ingredient in being successful as a rancher. Handling your cattle in a low stress environment is also very important, and, you know, just keeping them healthy, rotating them across pastures and having a good mineral supplement for them when they do need it. A happy cow is a profitable cow, I guess it would be one way to put that, and we try to take the best care we can of not only our animals but also the ranch.
It didn't take long for Mark to get involved with many of the organizations that support the beef industry. He's served on the board of directors of the Montana Stock Growers and is a member of NCBA.
I think probably the biggest thing is for those of us that are in the industry to get involved however you can, whether it's to be part of the Montana Stock Growers Association, which we are members of, or any of your local ag organizations, regional, state, or even on a federal level. What NCBA does for the cattle industry is a great thing, and you know, without their help and support in Washington, things would be a lot tougher than they already are for ranchers.
Mark and Patty say they have no regrets about their decision to join the beef industry, especially when they consider the warm welcome they've received from their fellow cattle producers.
It's been incredible and extremely humbling for our family that we have been so well received in this business and this industry. It's been just a tremendous learning experience for us. We learn something new every day, but it's a choice that we have never looked back on. This has just been a great life for us.
Moving here has been the best thing Mark and I have ever done. We are just two of the most fortunate individuals to have found this place and to bring our kids out here to grow up into this business and to do what we're doing. We are just very, very thankful for the opportunity we've been given.
Reporting from Belt, Montana, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
And you can become a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, just like the Harrisons, by calling 1-866-USA-BEEF or by visiting beefusa.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy-gauge powder-coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever-action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate, and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
Your herd, your business, your family. You've always protected what matters most, so you know how important vaccinations are for healthy cattle. And with Vista vaccines from Merck Animal Health, you know you're covered. No other vaccine works like Vista. Only Vista gives you complete dual-action pneumonia protection and complete 1-dose fetal protection for the entire pregnancy. Protect what matters most. Talk to your veterinarian or animal health supplier about Vista.
What NCBA does. They keep us informed about a lot of things that are going on nationwide.
The reason we're an NCBA member is we think that it's the best voice that the cattle people have.
Join NCBA today. Head to beefusa.org or call 866-USA-BEEF.
Lots of cowmen put a little extra into their calves, hoping it'll bring them another nickel at the sale, like preconditioning, early weaning, or for specialty markets. But how can the buyer trust your claim? Old vaccine bottles or your ratty tally book? Truth is, this little green ear tag will be all you need. That's what IMI Global does, third-party verification. The seal of approval, like the nutrition label on your Twinkie. Did I say Twinkie? IMIglobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
Some farms and ranches treasure the fact that they have spanned several generations. They're celebrated for their fidelity to the land. But I expect, as the years went by, there's been many an argument over the type of cattle that they should be running to keep up with the times. You're not gonna keep her still, are you, Dad? She must be 12 years old. I reckon she's closer to 14 now and naturally half-polled. You mean she was sired by a hornless bull? No, she just got one horn, which makes her half-polled. Or better yet, makes her half-unicorn. She could be half-clam if your logic's right. I mean, clams don't have any teeth. You're changing the subject. We're talking about horns, and one she wasn't bequeathed. She could be half deer and just shed one of them off while grazing through the wire. And checking this eye, man might conclude that a cyclops was her sire. Oh, and her stumbling skip is like a circus horse, always taking a bow. Son, you're overlooking her greatest trait. Well, she's a gaited cow. Let's see, a half-polled cyclops with teeth like a clam, a gaited cow to boot? Hey, why don't you start a new registered breed? Call it the Rudy Toot. Yeah, half the pink eye, more room at the bunk, and easier to ride. Rudy Toot breeders will flock to your door. Dad, don't you have any pride? You're only looking to find an excuse to keep her on the place. I'll have you know, I make my decisions on cost in every case. And while you were babbling and rattling on trying to vilify, I decided to keep her one more year. And you're the reason why. Because being the practical man that I am, I say, waste not, want not. See, I saw you give her that vitamin A, and I'd hate to waste that shot. This is Baxter Black from out there.
I'm Sheila Carges. This is my husband Brock. We have two girls, Karina and Jessica. Both girls can pull cattle, doctor, process anything that we need them to do.
Using products that help keep the calves healthy, it helps my parents to be less stressful, it helps them to be at home more, and it helps pay more bills when you don't have to worry about sick cattle.
I'd say 99% of our cattle are high risk.
We've never seen a response due to a metaphylaxis like we have with the Draxxin. I think Draxxin has a major role in any operation as far as your viability and your long-term outlook.
And how do you quantify having a peace of mind to take a vacation for a week or leave work early to go watch a basketball game? You can't quantify that.
Important safety information for Draxxin. Draxxin has a pre-slaughter withdrawal time of 18 days. Do not use in dairy cattle 20 months of age or older. Effects on reproductive performance, pregnancy, and lactation have not been determined.
New Holland equipment is built smart for the way you farm, and the New Holland Big Baler is smart for the way you make big square bales. The new Big Baler Series large square balers from New Holland use the latest technologies to deliver dense, uniform bales in every crop at high speed. Wide maxi sweep pickups grab hay or straw in the toughest windrows, feeding it into the bale chamber, where the New Holland Density Management System makes each bale to your exact specifications. Operators can also choose from a variety of crop cutter systems to cut crop just the way you need it to maximize feed utilization and mixing times. And if you're looking for precision, ask your New Holland dealer about options to monitor and control weight, moisture, and RFID bale identification. Any way you look at it, the New Holland Big Baler is smarter and faster to get the job done right the first time. Visit your New Holland dealer to learn more about the complete lineup of New Holland equipment, in addition to all of the benefits available to cattle producers. To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
Time now for this week's legacy photos submitted by ranching families from around the country. Let's have a look. You can send us your own legacy photos by visiting our website, cattlemantocattleman.org. Include your ranch or farm name and hometown, and we may use them on a future episode. Well, that wraps up this edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for spending time with us. We'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.